It's a place in the grand final that's at stake for Barrow Raiders and Halifax here at Craven Park tonight. The top two in the Cooperative Championship going head-to-head in this qualifying semi-final. The winners going straight through to the October the 4th showdown. The losers get a second chance. The Barrow Raiders have already had something to celebrate this evening. Their chairman, Des Johnston, receiving the League Leaders Trophy from Gary Tasker, the Director of Development at the Rugby Football League. And that's not bad for a side that was promoted to the Championship this season. They've finished top of the pile. They haven't finished yet, and Des Johnston hoping for more from his side tonight. He's hoping that they will go all the way through to the grand final. This is the scene so far. We've had week one with Widnes beating Whitehaven 26-21, and Featherstone have gone through beating Sheffield 32-8. Now we're on to Barrow against Halifax, and coming up on Friday, Widnes against Featherstone. So the winners tonight go straight through. The losers play the winners of that Widnes-Featherstone match for a place in the grand final on October the 4th. And the same applies to Championship 1. Oldham have beaten Swinton already, 31-26. Hunslet survived, beating Blackpool 21-18. The big showdown is between Keighley and the York City Knights on Sunday, while Oldham will play Hunslet. Keighley or York will go straight through. The losers of that play the winners of that game B for a place in their grand final again on Sunday, October the 4th. It promises to be a great feast of rugby league at the Halliwell Jones that first weekend in October. But before all that, Barrow Raiders and Halifax, the top two in the Cooperative Championship, going head-to-head. Gary Broadbent captains the Raiders from full-back, and it's Andy Ballard, Andreas Bauer, Liam Harrison, James Nixon, Jamie Rooney and James Coyle. In the forwards, Brett McDermott, Andy Ellis, Rob Roberts, Dave Allen, Ned Katic and Zeb Luisi. And on the bench, Andy Braychek, Paul Noon, Chris Young and Danny Halliwell, who comes into the side. The only change, really, because Martin Osler broke his leg in the game against the Sheffield Eagles. He is out, and so Halliwell comes in for coach Dave Clark. And this is the Halifax side. Shad Royston at fullback, then it's Lee Patterson, John Goddard, James Haley, Rob Warrency, Ben Black, who starts. He was on the bench for their last game against Toulouse, and Sean Penkovic captains the side. In the forwards, Frank Watine, Bob Bezic, David Wrench, David Larder, Steve Bannister and Paul Smith, who does play. He has undergone an extensive fitness test virtually since the side arrived here earlier on this afternoon. Worries about his ankle injury, but he has come through that. On the bench, Mark Gleeson, Mark Roberts, Saeed Tamgart and Dominic Maloney, and the coach is Matt Callan. So no place for Matt James. There was an outside chance that the on-loan forward from the Bradford Bulls would play. Hadn't played since May because of a hand injury, but he isn't included. And incidentally, Matt James on his way to Harlequins, signing for them for 2010 and a 2-year deal, and that's not a bad signing for Brian McDermott. Matt James not playing for Halifax tonight, though, as Halifax take the field, and commendably great travelling support for Fax on this Thursday night. They've made the journey in the hope of seeing their side, led by Sean Penkovic, go straight through to the grand final, and they'll be optimistic, having seen their side beat Barrow 3 times already this season. So they'll travel with great expectation this evening, will the Halifax supporters. And the fortunes of the sides seem to reflect that optimism. Halifax having won their last 2 games. The Barrow Raiders have lost their last 2, and that's despite the fact they finished top of the table. They lost here against Gateshead, and then they sneaked a bonus point against Sheffield Eagles to claim the League Leaders Trophy. I'm just wondering, Terry, whether the pressure of the occasion might get to Barrow, as it did when they were up against Gateshead in a game where they could have sealed the title.
They've been the best defensive team in the competition, and that's what they've got to really focus on in this evening's game. They're up against a real attacking team in Halifax. They take their opportunities, whether they're in their own 10-yard, whether they're outside in the opposition's half, they will play rugby league. Barrow really do need to control the speed at which Halifax play that ball.
Thierry Alibert is the referee this evening here at Craven Park. And it'll be the Barrow Raiders who'll get us underway when Jamie Rooney gets a kicking tee. Barrow Raiders, knowing that victory here tonight will take them through to their second final of the season. They've already lost in the Northern Rail Cup final to Widnes. Now they're hoping to make another final, and let's see. Kick-off from Rooney is a good one. And a good chase as well from the Raiders. And here's Frank Watine. And these two packs will battle it out early doors. Certainly looks as though Halifax have got the edge in the forward confrontation in terms of size. And Bezic goes for the early kick in the tackle count. Was maybe hoping for a 40-20, but he didn't get it, and Broadbent will bring it back.
Watching Halifax warm up just before the match, I saw them hit shields and try to hit the floor as quick as they could, mainly concentrating on that quick play of the ball. I think they'll be foolish to try to play the game down their own half.
Foolish to concede the penalty there, just delaying the play of the ball.
And this is what you must make sure. In semi-final football, you can't give away penalties. Inviting the opposition, it's Frank Watine who just stays on a touch too long. You've got to control and you've got to hit them up top, and you've got to turn the opposition on the back.
First penalty of the game goes in favour of the Barrow Raiders then for that infringement by Frank Watine. And here's Rob Roberts, former Halifax player, one of the many stops on his nomadic career. Roberts just had a season with Halifax. Brett McDermott, now McDermott busting through the middle, has Broadbent in support. Broadbent was looking for somebody, he's got Ellis on his shoulder, but Ellis is eventually tackled by Lada. But a good break from Brett McDermott. Now here's Luisi, great ball inside, but Rooney couldn't take the pass, and the chance goes begging, and what a chance it was.
Barrow showing their hand really early on. A nice strong charge from Brett McDermott, right back up the guts, puts Zeb Luisi. Oh, that's so close. Jamie Rooney be disappointed, possibly looking at the try line, trying to see where his gap would come. Showing the hand very early, Barrow. They're prepared to throw this ball around in the right part of the pitch.
That's not a good pass, and Goddard forced to grovel for that ball, really, as it sank down by his toes, his wrench. So that's a warning shot for this Halifax side. They need to switch on defensively, because they were caught right up the middle there. It's a pumped-up Barrow Raiders side. They've let their supporters down at home last time out with that defeat against Gateshead. They're hoping not to do that tonight as Ben Black puts the kick in and finds touch.
The forwards from Halifax only made 11 metres with the ball in hand. Ben Black taking the option to kick the ball as far down pitch as he can to try and gain some momentum going forward. Barrow defensively are really up for this contest. They know that Halifax are going to try and play him around the middle of the park, try and set Ben Black away with some quick play of the balls. There he is, your man in your screen. Devastating when he gets the ball, especially on a quick play of the ball.
Rooney eventually tackled. It's Gary Broadbent who is tackled. Ellis. Good work. He's back with Ellis. There's Allen with the run. Here is Rooney. Ned Katic now, and Katic starting tonight. He would have been on the bench had Martin Osler been fit, but Osler out with that broken leg. Here's Rooney. Liam Harrison now, he is a handful. And they get a hold of him. Nixon. It's Rooney now. Coyle. Ball goes out wide and finds Ballard, rather fortunately for Barrow Raiders there. That's the fifth tackle.
Coyle motioning to put the ball up in the air. He wants his side to chase.
Crossfield kick, well taken by Haley, and then gets it to Warrensey. And Warrensey dragged backwards, still going back.
It's a beautiful kick, just mistimes his jump, does Nixon. You can see some real fire in the belly of Barrow tonight. They really want this game.
There's Wrench. 3 tackles gone. Black. Short ball from Black. 4 tackles gone, and they're on their own 30-metre line. Watine. Royston now.
Just a little lunge there from Brett McDermott. Adam Watine putting the ball behind one of his teammates, and Shad Royston misses one by Dave Allen, then Brett McDermott, he doesn't miss.
Penalty takes Halifax into the Barrow Raiders half. 2 balls on the pitch at the moment. Monsieur Alibert deals with that. Here is Frank Watine.
First! Move! Wait! Go, well done.
Wrench now.
Second!
First venture into the Barrow half, really, by Halifax since the game started. Penkovic, Paul Smith playing with that dodgy ankle. Doesn't seem to be causing him any problems so far. Ben Black running into a solid Barrow Raiders defensive wall there. Penkovic, little step from Penkovic, almost through. Just ankle tapped by his opposite number, Andy Ellis, and then loses the ball. Referee says play on, and then Barrow Raiders lose the ball.
The referee will go back to the first knock-on, which was by Penkovic. He's got so much balance and strength when he goes through. You can see the tackle wasn't complete. Ellis comes over the top, he loses possession. Luisi picked up, he knocked it on, but it goes back to the first knock-on, which was Penkovic.
Really evident that Halifax are bringing that ball back on the inside, maybe feeling that some of the bigger players from Barrow can be exposed when they need to double up their efforts.
Kasich was looking for the offload and gets the penalty. Ben Black just having a bit of a shove at him. Didn't agree with the decision, felt that maybe the referee might have been duped there.
And Ben Black is trying to slow down the tackle. He needs Patterson, he needs Haley to get back to marker. But just the way that Barrow are playing, they look to play second phase rugby. Every time they go into the collision, they're looking to offload this ball.
McDermott, this time he's stopped in his tracks on the halfway line. He's lost that ball. He appeared to do so, but he was under pressure from Bezic.
Ball available again by Ellis.
That's another penalty, and again interference there.
Fantastic movement from Barrow. They're not just one up tonight. Gets his arm free, Ellis, and hurrying to play that ball.
Stephen Bannister is the player on the floor, and he's in a mess. That is a horrible mess, and it was a clash of heads, and it usually is in these situations. It's his own player that did the damage.
It's Paul Smith. Comes in, tucks him on the head, Bannister goes down. You've got to say there's no capsules there. Bannister goes to the sideline. They were looking to get Stephen Bannister back on the pitch as quick as they can.
2 points.
Well, while Bannister heads to the dressing rooms for treatment to that nasty gash, Jamie Rooney has signalled his intention to go for 2 points.
Probably
we saw them do this at Sheffield.
I think this is probably an indication on how fast the first seven and a bit minutes have gone. It's been rip-roaring in pace, and Jamie Rooney will just knock these over all day. Just outside the 40-metre line, meat and drink for a kicker of Jamie Rooney's ability. Really impressed with Barrow's ball movement tonight. Not just running into 3 defenders, they're tipping it on to the next bloke.
Paul Smith having to leave the field as well, because he didn't come out of that clash unscathed, and he's going to need a bit of treatment as well. So Barrow having their work done for them. Halifax having 2 players off the field at the moment.
Stitchman on overtime tonight. I wonder whether he gets paid by the stitch, Tez, or by the person.
Well, as you say, it'll be definitely an overtime, but Barrow really are trying to grind down this win.
Time on.
Rooney from just outside the 40. Gentle swing of the boot right between the uprights, and Barrow Raiders get the first points on the board. 2-0 they lead, and Halifax paying the price for some early indiscipline, and the price for a bit of a clash of heads as well.
And again, it just comes back to the speed of which Barrow are playing this ball. They seem to be running in, people pushing up into that next hole. Dave Clark has really got his team focused. You've got to support your teammate. You've got to push up with him. His arms are going to come free, and that's what they're doing. There's a real honesty about Barrow tonight.
But sometimes you watch teams, Tez, and they have a man in that next hole and they don't pass it, just pay lip service to it. Barrow tonight will pass that ball on.
Okay.
Patterson's restart, a bit of a squabble between Rooney and Roberts as to who was going to claim that ball. Rooney did, then gave it to Roberts very kindly. Rob Roberts is tackled just on his own 20-metre line. Here's McDermott again.
But the width in that pass from dummy half cut out two players, getting away from the real meat in the middle.
Allen stepping back inside, running into Frank Watine. Goddard with a good tackle. Here's Luisi, one of 4 Barrow Raiders players in the Championship All-Star side. As Rooney puts the kick in, he just stepped outside his 40 to land that kick. And it's fielded by Shad Royston. Luisi, Ellis, Nixon and Harrison in the All-Star team from the Barrow Raiders. Just one from Halifax, and he's not playing tonight. It's the injured Miles Greenwood, and I know that we're just a bit unimpressed at Halifax, and maybe 1 or 2 others from their side haven't made the cut. But it has been a very competitive division. Watine, good ball, finds Warrency. Bezic could have been one of the candidates for that All-Star side. Black puts the brakes on, puts the kick in. Broadbent has just almost let that one get away from it. Just caught in 2 minds, and that doesn't happen very often with Gary Broadbent.
Clever play by Ben Black. He looked up, he's seen that James Nixon had really pushed up strong. He thought the little kick was behind, but Gary Broadbent, as always, fantastic positioning.
Here's Ballard. Now Halifax looking to pin the Barrow Raiders down. Here's Andreas Bauer. Ellis now. Roberts, Rooney, Katic. Katic finds Rooney, but Rooney is collared by Warrency and by Ben Black. They saw that coming. Coyle on the last. Kick straight down the middle of the field, finds good open space between Shad Royston and Lee Patterson, and then it's Patterson who brings it back. Picks 2 of the biggest guys to run to. McDermott and Roberts. Here's Rob Warrency now. Bezic showed it to Wrench, took the tackle himself. 3 tackles gone. Gleeson is on the field. Here is Frank Watine, and good work from Watine, but there was nobody on his shoulder. He was looking to his left, and they were all dawdling along in his slipstream. Mark Roberts now. Roberts. 1 good handoff, and that's the 5th tackle. Black directing operations just to Gleeson's left. Here he is now, then finds Penkovic, and Penkovic, little chip kick over the top, and Broadbent saw that one coming, and then he saw Ballard coming, and Ballard, just overran himself really then, manages to get back to his feet, and goes down on the halfway line.
Poor option from Penkovic there. He took the ball from second receiver, flat line of defence in front of him. That's meat and drink again. Andy Ballard getting good metres up the middle.
Penalty conceded.
Penalty away.
Penalty conceded, another ball steal as Andreas Bauer was heading upstream.
And it was Wrench who come up with the ball steal. Here's the kick from Penkovic. Again, fantastic positioning by Broadbent. He gets the ball, he goes as fast as he could, Andy Ballard. He has got speed to burn. He doesn't panic, he takes the tackle, and it's the next play where Halifax give the penalty away.
Here's Chris Young now. First run from the Lancashire-born, Australian-raised forward. Rob Roberts now steals himself for the challenge and is then stopped 10 metres out. 2 tackles gone. Ellis, Rooney thought about, did take him on himself, but Halifax saw that one coming, but they were offside. Be another penalty, and will it be another 2 points? Will Rooney decide to kick this one, or will they try and keep the pressure on?
That was interesting then. Penkovic wanted to just ask the referee why the penalty was given. His teammates were pulling him back. Penkovic, as the captain, is allowed to approach the referee. Maybe his teammates thinking he needs to keep his composure.
Chris Young with the first tilt at the Halifax line. Coyle, Luisi's pass finds Nixon, but the Halifax cover comes across to close him down. Nixon, though, still going. Bezic and Warrency and Nixon doing a little pirouette there.
That's an interesting dance, that one.
Here's Coyle, Roberts. Roberts plays the ball. Ellis. Here's Young. Young seemed to take that one into his own hands, really. But he stopped just short. Ellis. Coyle now. Coyle finds Harrison. Harrison for Nixon. It's a walking for this prolific try-scoring winger from the Barrow Raiders, James Nixon, who gets his 30th try of the season. And it was wide open for him there. And they did keep the pressure on the Barrow Raiders. And it paid off. And James Nixon, who's carried on where he left off last season. He got 35 tries last year, he's got 30 now this season, and they don't come much simpler than that one.
The way that Barrow have started off this game, they've started off with speed. They know that if they go to the left-hand side, they've got a real potent combination. You've got Harrison, who is always the creator. He takes the ball to the line. He attracts the winger in James Haley. And it's just the speed of which this Barrow side are playing the ball. They've come out with a real defence attitude, and they are taking it to Halifax.
He was one of those 4 players from the Barrow Raiders named in that all-star lineup and the top scorer in the championship. And Rooney from wide outs with this conversion attempt. It's been a good start from the Barrow Raiders. And a slow start from Halifax. They really haven't got into gear yet. Haven't really threatened the Barrow Raiders line. Long way to go. Rooney with this conversion attempt. Bang on target. And are the Barrow Raiders on target for a grand final appearance? They're already 8-0 up here against Halifax. And Halifax paying the price for this 5-1 penalty count in favour of the Raiders.
Just watch the accuracy of the ball here from Coyle. Right to left pass, bang right in the midsection. And Liam Harrison just tips it on. Regular viewers to Super League will have heard Phil Clark mention that most rugby players, being right-handed, that is their preferred way to pass. Preferred even.
Here is Roberts for the Barrow Raiders. So the Barrow Raiders, whose home form of late has been a little bit shaky. Well, it was good, in fact, until Gateshead came here and surprised everybody by winning that last game. Before that, Barrow had won 9 in a row on their home pitch. But they don't do so well against Halifax historically. Halifax have got a really good record. They've won on their last 6 visits here. But they're going to have to shake themselves up. It's been a lethargic start from this Halifax side. That's the 5th tackle, and Roberts has lost the ball. He's knocked it on. A big miming episode there. Marcel Marceau would have been proud of that one, as Rob Roberts mimed that the ball had been stolen.
Two Bob's making a plea that Halifax have knocked it out of his hands, and I think he's got a strong case.
Wait, both hands. Cheers, wait.
I definitely think there was a hand in there.
Arm around, heads in, please. Stay out.
Halifax get head and feet on the halfway line. It's with Bezic. Now then, can they respond to this lively Barrow Raiders start? Here's Maloney. Off the bench and into the action for Halifax. Saeed Tamgart likewise. They'll add a little bit of vim and vigour to this Halifax offence. Black now. Here is Mark Roberts. Roberts heading for the sidelines and very nearly finding it. Rooney with the tackle. Warrency going across the field. That's the 5th tackle.
Well done, mate.
Now then, will they try and put a little bit of pressure on Ballard? No, it's a little grubber kick, and the ball will run dead.
20.
A nice little kick by Ben Bletch, a better last tackle option. The ball bobbling on the floor. It's always a contest when it's like that.
Okay, he's okay.
Well, Barrow Raiders showing their endeavour, trying to find touch with that 20 restart, which would have given them possession, but it didn't come off. And it's Halifax who have it back inside their own half.
And what they must do, they must remember that went against them, but they've got to defend this set 6. Said Tanga and Dominic Maloney have come on to add a little bit of punch up the middle of that part, something that they were really lacking in the first 16 minutes.
Halifax players appealing that there was a high shot on Dominic Maloney. Certainly seemed to be grabbed round the neck, but referee saw nothing in it. Roberts in possession. 4 tackles gone. Well, at least Halifax enjoying a little bit of possession here now. Penkovic, short ball finds Tamgard. It was forward.
That looked forward. We've seen Tamgard come on. We've also seen Dominic Maloney. I think they want to punish those middle defenders. There's the forward pass to Saeed Tamgard, no doubt about that. Just overrun the play.
31, 31, both hands, okay, well done.
So that spell of possession from Halifax comes to an end with that forward pass.
First move.
Here's Liam Harrison, been outstanding for the side this season, ever present. And a real handful in that centre's position, Harrison. Rooney, Braycheck now.
Move. Go.
3 tackles gone.
Okay.
Here's Ellis, just over the halfway line.
His arms were free again then. Billy was looking to offload.
Coyle, Luisi, nice step from Luisi. Coyle has got support from Rooney. Rooney has support from Broadbent, but the ball will come back for Ben Black, and Black keeps it alive.
Straight on to attack for Halifax. Rob Warrency, one of the fastest men on the pitch.
And the referee, I think, will bring them back.
Beautiful work from Barrow. Sequence of short passes, one-handed offloads, beautiful stuff. And they've earned the right to do that because they're running hard and strong in the middle. They're looking to play when they get those one-on-one tackles and get the ball away. Rob Warrens. Barrow just penalised there. I think it's the play before that was penalised.
I think the suggestion from Thierry Albert was that there was a trip. But anyway, it was a Halifax penalty, a welcome one, only their second of the game. Here is Maloney. But that was another dangerous break from the Barrow Raiders side that really should have come up with more. There was a stray pass. Had it not been, I think Gary Broadbent might have been in. As it is, here's Penkovic, and Penkovic dumped to the ground. Big tackle on him.
Again, Bill looking to come back up into the middle. I'm not sure that tactic's working.
Not when Chris Young's putting himself around like that. In with the tackle again, aided by Braycheck.
It's okay.
Bezic, little dink over the top. Oh, they've made a mess of that. Nixon has made a real mess of it. And that is manna from heaven for this Halifax side, because it'll give them head and feed in a very useful position.
And it's a real uncharacteristic error by James Nixon. Normally very safe. The ball just bounces away from him. You can see Bob Bezic puts it through. The chase is really strong. The ball bounces back. He just touches it, but it's the pressure of the Halifax defenders.
Nixon and Broadbent didn't understand which one was going to catch that. If they caught it on the full, then that's it.
Penkovic trying to step them himself, but couldn't get there. But Gleeson will fancy his chances, and he's almost over. Stopped just next to those posts by Katic and Andy Ellis. Tamgard. Again, they're stopped just short. They're working their way across the field. Now they try the other direction. Gleeson, bouncing pass, finds Ben Black. Black, little kick through.
Okay.
And that's too strong. Patterson couldn't get near that one.
Too strong, the kick by Ben Black. Andy Ballard knew that he had time there, but again, Halifax are really targeting Barrow at the middle of that part. And if they don't get any joy now, they sure will in the second half, when they're asking the same forwards to keep defending.
Second move. Go.
Braycheck plays the ball. Here is Ned Katic, and Katic, great burst from him, and then Harrison has Nixon outside him, but he's also got Warrency there.
Okay.
It went backwards, said the referee.
Jamie Rooney and Katic were bounding up inside. There was nobody on him. He took the wrong option then, Harrison.
Yo, not square.
And then Harrison gives the penalty away for not being square at the ruck. But again, real attacking play.
Great
He has a
work.
look in the left-hand side, but goes to his winger, Nix, and he took the wrong option. That would have been a try for Barrow.
Fast! Move!
It's difficult, and sometimes when you sit and watch it, I think Rob Warrensey has done incredibly well to get in between those two players. Let's give credit where it's due.
Move them! Wait. Go.
So another let-off for Halifax, and will Barrow Raiders rue these missed opportunities? That's the second in the last 6 minutes from them. Now then, can Halifax put it together going forwards? Here's Goddard. Penkovic drifting across the field. Royston now. It's opened up for Shad Royston. And he's still going. Stopped just short of that try line. That's the 5th tackle. The Barrow Raiders defence coming under concerted pressure here now. Black, ball out wide. Oh, and Haley wasn't expecting that, I don't think.
How many chances are Halifax going to blow? Because their attitude is, let's get down the other end and score a try. They haven't built pressure, and you can't be too critical of Roberts for that pass. Haley just wasn't expecting it. But what's wrong with dinking the ball and making them come away from their own line?
Well, Barrow Raiders coming away from their own line in possession. But they have been under pressure, and how long can they survive it? Mind you, when they've broken out, they've threatened. And they've got a penalty.
And again, this really gives your team a piggyback up the other end of the park. Bob Bezic giving a penalty away, trying to control big Chris Young. You can see that he's trying to go, he's urgent to try and get up, play that ball. Bezic all round him.
Did Chris Young have hold of Bob Bezic then? Sometimes players try to kid and con referees.
So that's the 6th penalty that Halifax have given away. And they trail by 8 points to 0 here at Craven Park in this qualifying semi-final. The winners going straight through to the grand final October the 4th. The losers getting a second chance against either Widnes or Featherstone, who play tomorrow night.
Banner have really got a surge up the middle of the park. Matt Callan will be not happy with it all. The initial contact from the Halifax defenders is not good enough.
Rooney. Good tackle from Gleeson to stop him. 3 tackles gone in this set of 6 as Luisi comes across the field and then looks for an opening, almost finds one, but keeps going. Still Zeb Luisi. And Coyle just arrived a little bit too late to take the offload. Rooney will go for 1 point already. Well, who needs to wait until the last 5 minutes or so for a 1-pointer? Not the Barrow Raiders. They've obviously got the taste for it. Was it 3 they landed at Sheffield in that bonus point drama? And it's whetted the appetite because Jamie Rooney is on target with that one as well.
2 trails of thought here. Do you go for the points and squeeze the pressure out of the game, or do you just keep the scoreboard ticking away? What do you think, Tez?
I think that Jamie Rooney's got up the other end of the pie. He doesn't want to come away with anything. Obviously, they've got to concentrate this next set of 6, bringing the ball away and back themselves, and that's where they've been really strong. Defensively, they've really tested themselves and they've really turned up for each other.
As has just been pointed out, do you think Barrow might have forgotten they don't get a bonus point tonight?
Well, the difference is, Bill, to this in the Sheffield game, they're actually in front and they're playing for the semi to go straight into the final.
Well, they're anticipating it's going to be a tight game, obviously.
Move! Hold, go.
But it's the Barrow Raiders who are 9-0 up here.
And it's okay taking them options, coming away with the 1 point when you're leading on the scoreboard.
Rooney, just a stuttering run from him, finds Katic.
Barrow's push has just dropped off ever so slightly. They've come away with that 1 point and they've just started to rock back on the heels a bit.
So Rooney puts a kick over the top, but it's straight into the arms of James Haley. Now then, this long-serving winger Haley brings it back. Joined the club as a 16-year-old back in 2000. And here's Rob Warrency. Warrency, always a threat with his weaving runs and great pace, as we've seen this season. Lee Patterson. He surely was a candidate for the All-Star team with his phenomenal goal-kicking prowess. Here's Saeed Tamgat.
Katian.
Tamgat plays the ball.
Okay.
Black finds Tamgat. That's the 5th tackle.
Move. Last.
Penkovic. Penkovic, little chip kick over the top. Will he get this one right? Well, he's got another one. He's got a goal line dropout out of it because Ballard had to go for that one.
But that's a good option. Squeezing the pressure, just dink it over the back. Defend strong and double up Barrow's efforts.
Andy Ballard, one of the Oldham 5 who came here just a few weeks ago when Steve Deacon joined the club for that brief but very successful spell.
Okay.
It just seems all a blur, the happenings at this Barrow Raiders club. Dave Clark in charge at the start of the season, taking them to that Northern Rail Cup final. Steve Deacon coming in, 4 wins in a 6-week spell, getting them to the top of the table and then suddenly departing, but made his mark here and left these players who hope that they are going to be part of a grand final side with the Barrow Raiders. At the moment they're ahead by 9 points to 0, but Halifax coming back at them and getting the penalty. High tackle by Ned Katic.
It was Gleeson who got out, who started asking a bit of questions around the ruck, coming on them quick play of the balls. Ned Katic going a bit too high. What can Saeed Tamgat do?
So this is a great opportunity for Halifax to get something on the board here. Penkovic across the field. Penkovic still going and driven back from the try line. Good work by Luisi and Bauer, but the danger's not over yet because Bob Bezic is trying his luck and he's going backwards as well. Referee calls held. That's 3 tackles gone.
Go. My feet. Go.
Again, the pressure is on as Patterson tries to force his way through the Barrow Raiders defence. Gleeson now. Penkovic. Now they'll shift it out wide. The pass is knocked on by Haley again, and once more it all comes to a very sticky end out on this Halifax right-hand side.
Halifax really do need to build some pressure. It's not about scoring every opportunity. You see that Smith put his hand up, Ben Black passed the ball. Matt Callan will be saying, just get down there, camp down there and ask more questions.
Matt Callan, Martin Hall, his football director, just alongside him on the edge of the shot. Not impressed by what they're seeing so far, and now the penalty conceded.
Larder goes high on Nixon. Nixon just getting out, trying to put a bit of speed around the big fella. Little swinging arm, just rides above that shoulder, gives the penalty away. And again, this is where you build pressure. You don't relieve pressure by giving penalties away to the opposition. That's what Matt Callan will be really upset with his teammates. Every time they get down there, they seem to come up and try looking for that big play instead of just trying to turn the screw.
And that for a side that scored 124 tries in 20 games this season. They know how to get over the try line. There seems to be a bit of anxiety about their play this evening. Here's Braychek, one of the Welsh internationals out there. Rob Roberts, another one. Of course, the European Nations Tournament to come at the end of this season. A new Welsh coach to be announced next week in Cardiff. I wonder who that will be. Strong rumours that a former Oldham and Leeds player might be involved in that. Meanwhile, it's the Barrow Raiders on the attack. And Halifax having to defend again. Ballard. Rooney will hoist the cross-field kick. Haley under pressure, gets it at the second attempt and gives it to Warrency. Now then, can Warrency get away? He's still on his feet, but not for long.
Great recovery from Barrow there. The kick went up, they pressured the kick receiver, and after a short offload, Rob Warrency, who has got some speed, they dealt with him.
They've kept it alive as well. Here is Goddard. Well, that might just give Halifax a little boost to their confidence. That was more like the flowing rugby league that they can play, but Ballard has snapped it up. Ballard is away. How punishing is that? Ballard out of nothing goes in under the sticks in front of those gobsmacked Halifax supporters. And Halifax, from being in a threatening position, find themselves trudging back towards their own posts. They cannot believe that. But Andy Ballard gets his 20th try of the season. And a real poacher's try it was as well, from the halfway line, out of nothing. And it's all going right for the Barrow Raiders this evening, so far anyway.
Halifax have done all the hard work dealing with the pressure that Barrow put on them. But you can see Ballard, this is a real opportunist try. He stays up in the line, the pass is forced by Halifax, and there's no way anybody's going to catch Andy Ballard from there. There was nobody in front of him, it was Gleeson. The ball back inside, off Larder, Dave Larder trying to turn it back, trying to challenge the Barrow defenders, but that man was alert. He knew exactly what was coming up. Good try by Andy Ballard.
And Rooney from bang in front of those posts to extend this Barrow Raiders lead. Rooney thumps that one between the posts. Halifax have held a real war conference there while Rooney was lining that conversion up, and they come marching back towards the halfway line, and they really have got to dig themselves out of a hole now, because they trail by 15 points to nil. Ballard, the try scorer.
The worrying thing for me, when this try is scored, look how many Halifax players are coming back to chase. Not a zip. That isn't the hallmark of a Matt Calland coach side. Their attitude and their application needs to change.
To be fair, that's a bit critical, that, Barry. They go for the short kick-off. Who comes up with it? Barrow get it. To be fair, Andy Ballard's probably one of the quickest men. There was no way that all the Halifax players were pushing up in support, trying to support that or anticipate that break. As soon as Ballard got that ball, that was a try.
No, but I'm not saying they might have stopped the try, but they might have stopped Ballard from going in under the sticks.
Would you have got back, Barry, if you were playing?
Well, I'm not playing, am I? We're talking about Halifax.
If you were playing, would you have got back?
Braycheck in possession. Just going back to this new Welsh coach, the identity of whom will be revealed next Tuesday. I should have said Oldham Schools, Leeds and Bradford. And another West Yorkshire club at the moment might become clearer on Tuesday.
Well, I'm scratching my head here, Bill.
Barry's not. Rooney. Is that what that burning smell is? Kick well taken by Shad Royston, who's filled in at this full-back role. Miles Greenwood out injured.
I'm just waiting for Tez to shout, "Okay, the new."
Here is Warrensey, took a bit of a bang the last time he took the ball back up. He's on his feet. Well, Barrow Raiders at the moment heading for this grand final, one of 3 grand finals at the Halliwell Jones on October the 4th. More information from 08 444 777 113 or on the RFL's website, therfl.co.uk. That's the information line and the website, and it's October the 4th. The Halliwell Jones. Halifax have spilt the ball.
And again, Halifax really putting themselves under pressure. Barrow have sent big Brett McDermott on. He had a real good 15 minutes. You can see it was Penkovic who tried to offload that ball, although he thought it was stolen. But Halifax again under pressure, defending in their own half.
Ellis plays the ball. Andy Ellis, a player being linked with a move to Super League, although Barrow Raiders are talking to several of these recent recruits with a view to them staying for next season. Ellis is one of them. Here is Rooney. Rooney still going.
Surrender!
4 tackles gone. Rooney still being wrestled by Bezic. Looks at the referee in some surprise as Coyle just dinks a kick over the top. Ballard chasing it, and Royston just waited for that to bounce and was then taken high.
James Coyle penalised for a high shot. It was the right idea. A nice little kick through, and just launches himself, loses his feet, throws his arm. James
Relieving.
Coyle having a steadying influence on this game, just pushing the ball into the corners, making Halifax come away and making them uncomfortable in coming away.
So the relieving penalty gets Halifax up to their own 30-metre line, but Tamgart is quickly stopped. Ben Black, Maloney now. Started the season at Hull after what was for him a big move from Dewsbury. Didn't really work out from there, so he's here now with Halifax. That's back to 6, says the referee. Haley appeared to lose it. He lost it because of a Barrow hand being in there. Here is Dominic Maloney now.
That's better play by Halifax. Take the ball forward, straight and hard, and try and play off the back of that.
Can they get something to cling to before half-time? They need to get some points on the board to give them a little bit of confidence going into the break, and they haven't got left long if they're to do that. Tamgart now. Gleeson. Here is Ben Black. Black. Been struggling with a bicep injury, Black has, and Halliwell on the field, and one of his first contributions is to concede the penalty.
Well, you're sent on to make an impact. That is not the way that you want to make the first impact of the game.
Here's Paul Smith, so Halliwell tries to redeem himself with that tackle. But this could give Halifax a great opportunity. Now then, can they get it right, on their right? Well, they do, but then it comes back across the field. Penkovic, again, looking to take it into the middle. Any joy for him there? Gets the ball away to Tamgart. Tamgart wrestling his way, or trying to wrestle his way clear, but Halliwell makes the tackle. So too does Broadbent. Again, they're going for it, they're over the line, but Gleeson, well, he's just short. For a moment I thought he was going to get over, but Gleeson just short. Royston now. Royston will try his luck. 4 tackles gone. Gleeson. Penkovic, little kick ahead. And Andreas Bauer forced to concede the goal line dropout. They'll take their time about that because the clock is counting down here.
Penkovic, he tried to put that ball through, but they need more movement, Halifax.
Bauer diffusing the situation at the end. Matt Calland heads down to the sidelines for talks with his team to see how they're going to turn this around. It's the Barrow Raiders who leave the field to the jubilant cheers of their supporters after a very satisfying first half for them.